First and foremost, the thing that you should know about calories is that they really shouldn't be part of early conversations when you're trying to get healthy. If you remember in early episodes, we were talking about 1, 2, 3 vitality, my system for actually making things stick, change that actually lasts, right? In phase 1, we're talking about conquering the chaos. So if we start out having conversations about, oh, you need to eat healthier, and then I start throwing all these numbers at you, and then you need a slide rule to get through your day, and then you're beating yourself up because, oh, that stick of celery actually had, 12 extra calories, and I don't know what to, it doesn't help. Really early conversations around nutrition and fitness and being healthy have to start with bigger picture conversations and habit building versus goals and metrics and numbers, right? And so this is, a good place for us to kind of dive into the concept of dietary Jenga. Mark, you've played Jenga before, right?
I'm familiar with the game, yep.
Mm-hmm. We've played with the big blocks, so when they fall, it really hurts.
It'll hurt you.
Don't play that with kids under 5, even though it looks fun for them.
Seems fun.
But, the concept of Jenga is, the game is you pull blocks from the bottom and you put them on the top. And then what ends up happening when you're playing Jenga, the foundation of the building gets wobbly and it falls over. And so what I've noticed is like most of our conscious conversations around nutrition ends up being a Jenga game. We take stuff from the foundation, the most important stuff, and we pull it out and we don't feel like we need it. And instead, we end up worrying about the top of the building, the stuff that is really kind of just there for decoration. Meaning, instead of worrying about how many calories I'm consuming or the fact that I'm eating healthier quality foods, we're talking about, well, I have to be GMO free and it has to be organic and all of this stuff that, as we said before, the nerds are talking about, the people that are geeking out about nutrition, they're the ones that care about those kind of top blocks. All the rest of us should be caring about the things on the bottom of this, on the bottom of the Jenga tower. And so that's one of the most important things is like calories. When we start having this conversation, don't make it part of day one nutrition change.
And what I love about this too is the idea that everybody who wants to make change, and we're talking about this 1, 2, 3 vitality stuff as part of this sort of framework for change, right? When people want to make changes, they want to change immediately. And so people will come to you and say, hey, Neal, what should I eat? What supplements should I take? I want to get healthy today, this moment. And so if you were to say to them, well, how many calories are you taking? And they're saying 700,000 calories in a day, that's problematic. But they don't even know how many calories they're taking in. We talked about this from an inventory standpoint. People don't know what they're showing up with. So right. I'm working with somebody right now who is way under her calories, and I'm not a nutritionist, but I know she's not getting the nutrients she needs.
Right.
And so she's hyper focused on not putting too many calories into her body. And that is the absolute wrong approach. Right. Not just for weight loss, but from a health standpoint. You cannot base your life around calories, and we're going to go there. But that's the struggle is we want to support people in this, but we also want to give them the right information. And so this calorie thing is tied heavily to weight loss. It's tied heavily to health and wellness in ways that we're really going to try to untangle here today.
Right. All perfectly said, Mark. You're so eloquent and beautiful as
true.
A man.
No, that's all true.
The other thing that's really interesting and why I keep it out of this early piece is because the calorie stuff, there's 3,500 calories in a pound. If you cut by 500 calories a day, you'll lose a pound a week, right? Like 7 days. That's a rule of thumb. That's not real. It's
not how your body, it's not your body.
Right.
It's the average body. What's that?
It changes over time. So the numbers that we get hyper fixated on these things and they're not even real. And if I then said to you, who's fixated on calories and concerned about calories, well, technically, and then I go through, how your metabolic rate is influencing it and how it changes over time and how it's not a real, your head would explode. How do you make things happen and stick for you in your wellness game if you're fixated on things that are just it's just too much. It's not something that pays off early. So
and along those lines, so this habit building thing is so important. It's what's changed everything for me is building habits out. And so I'm a huge building habits first guy. And so for me, timing of meals, combining of foods, all of that, super important. If I just said to you, have this number of calories in a day, none of that takes into account matching of nutrients with each other so that you get the maximum benefit out of those nutrients. Because some nutrients, if you have them with another nutrient, actually stops that nutrient from being absorbed. And you know that. So some of this stuff is, I time my meals. I drink water in between. There's all of these pieces that if I just said to you, have 1,200 calories or have 2,000 calories, you're missing the boat.
Yeah. I think just if you're getting started with your wellness plan, calories are a later part of the conversation.
Yep.
So that should be a red flag if you're starting a conversation and calories are a big part of it. It's okay to, be aware of it, know what the limits are, what too little, what too much are, and know that they're a part of the conversation, but it's not necessary to get started. And I think calories have always, since it kind of came into the modern cultural conversation, have been too much of a focus all around.